Good morning. Good morning. Come on, I understand a room full of Jews, it's hard to get them to quiet down, but come on, Christian clergy and clergy-to-be and leaders, you guys are usually, I step up here, you guys are well-trained, you're done right away. But it is wonderful to have all of you here for the, I was trying to think of a good adjective for us, Bobby, for what I am proud to convey as the 29th annual Clergy Institute here at Temple de Hirsch Sinai. Really a wonderful emergence of the spirit of interfaith dialogue and efforts that were initiated by Rabbi Raphael Levine, Alav Shalom, of blessed memory, and Father Bill Tracy, where he is, and Father Tracy, who is here. We're so proud and pleased to have Father Tracy here. In many ways, it brings, yes, please. It brings a wonderful sense of symmetry and I won't say closure, but kind of brings the ends together in a wonderful way. Yes, please, Chip.
Celebrating his 90th birthday this month.
And celebrating his 90th birthday this month. Wonderful. I'm thinking of that quite a bit because we have another stalwart of our community and congregation, Art Siegel, who's also celebrating a 90th birthday. So now he has a look of consternation that I revealed that to everyone. And I'm only thinking of that because my 45th birthday is coming up, and I consider myself to be at least half the man that Father Tracy and Art Siegel are. It is really a pleasure to have all of you here for the 29th Annual Clergy Institute. It's one of the really most wonderful and exciting and enriching parts of the yearly cycle, not only of programming of what I do rabbinically here at Temple de Hirsch Sinai, and I am profoundly indebted to all of those who have made this possible, not the least of which the Alfred and Tilly Shemansky Trust, which has underwritten this program in conjunction with many programs that we do in partnership with Seattle University School of Theology and Ministry, and we are so grateful to have that support. Also from the family of Henry Eisenhardt, a visionary member of our community who embraced this notion of interfaith dialogue and programming and understanding and bridge building that I think he was inspired by Rabbi Levine and Father Tracy, and his legacy continues through his support of this program. And also wonderful staff, Kathleen Kallmeyer, my assistant, and Janet Rasmus, Ken Schlegel, who were involved in so much of the legwork and logistics of putting this together, Mimi Porad, and of course Devlin Donnelly, who is not only a cameraman by hobby, but does all of our communications and publicity, and anything cool that you see coming out of here in terms of posters and marketing is because of Devlin, and we are indebted for that. And to all of you for being here and for demonstrating your interest and intention, driving from near and far to be here on, if it were maybe 75 degrees, I'd give you a little more credit, but you know, it's still a nice spring, relatively temperate day where you could be doing other things. I appreciate you being here in the spirit of learning and of fellowship. I am very pleased to and honored to serve as our scholar here this year, mainly because I have been honored to publish a book within the last month or so called Good God, Faith for the Rest of Us. And just a word about the book. The book itself, and I'm going to be talking about the substance of the book, but not, my publisher will hate me saying this, but not to sell books or what have you. But rather, the book, part of my bucket list, right? Something I always wanted to do, wanted to be sure I checked off on my list of life experiences somewhere in between bungee jumping and tiger training or something. The point really is the message. The mission with a small m and a large M that I feel passionately about in terms of reaching out to, connecting, and perhaps reaccessing those who, particularly within the Pacific Northwest, consider themselves to be spiritual but not religious. And how many of us as people who are intensely involved in religious community, who take faith seriously, how many of us have heard those words repeatedly? One of the things that I found most interesting was not only an article in the New York Times recently, which on the front page, which described, the headline was, "Atheists finally shouting it from the rooftops." So what did that mean, atheists finally shouting it from the rooftops? Well, there was this group of atheists, believe it or not, in all places, South Carolina, who went against type, I guess, very courageous, particularly in the lower quadrant buckle of the Bible Belt, and put up a billboard that said essentially, "Don't believe in God? You are not alone." Now, they thought they were going to get all sorts of hostility and attacks. They got hundreds and hundreds of emails and phone calls from people and actually created communities and gatherings. Here in Seattle, it made the news, of course, because it was kind of interesting and outside of the box. An atheist group in Seattle has started putting up signs in buses that say essentially the same thing. Hey, you don't believe in God? Well, give us a call because let's get together and talk about it. And I thought that there was something incredibly paradoxical, which paradoxes are the norm here in the Pacific Northwest in so many ways. There's something paradoxical about the fact that the quote-unquote godless want the sense of community that is the experience of the faithful. And so typical of the Pacific Northwest that people are striving to be a part of a community, but often it's a community of one. They want to be part of a blizzard that encompasses them, but also a unique, precisely defined individual snowflake. Now, timing is everything. And throughout, I thought that this book and its message reflected broad concerns about spirituality that so many of us are grappling with. But particularly in the last few months, I've experienced and seen in our greater culture much more than just the deep longings and need in our culture for this spiritual sense that kind of constantly comes up. For example, just within the last month and a half since this book has come out, I had an incredible response. I was privileged to be a part of a radio show on KUOW, where essentially we were walking around Greenland. How much better can you get? It was a beautiful springtime day. I was walking around Green Lake answering questions about something that I love, that's a part of my passion, of my heart, spirituality, God, transcendence. And yes, I had to dodge the occasional errant roller skater or dog walker. Thankfully I can multitask. I actually can walk and talk at the same time. But it was just an incredible experience, not only because symbolically, and we did this purposely, it was at that liminal point of transition between water and between land, and that's so much a part of kind of religious sensibilities, but also, liminally speaking, on the other side of the bushes we had Aurora, 99. And as we're trying to walk and have this wonderful, immersed in natural surrounding conversation about faith and spirituality and transcendence, cars are whizzing by us. And it became a wonderful metaphor for the challenge of so many people in modern culture. And the challenge is to try to compartmentalize, to experience moments of transcendence and faith and embrace matters of the spirit while surrounded by a cacophony of distractions and craziness and freneticism. And what really impressed me most about that radio show was that the focus wasn't on spirituality, which has really come to be a kind of an all-encompassing catch-all for anything and everything that might feel religious. The focus of this interview was on transcendence, which I think is a much more grounded, theologically sustainable term.